Apollo offers a number of options for automated data validation to make sure that your analytics calls are going through successfully in a way that will record. We automatically create a number of extensions, and we'll detail all of the extensions together in a separate video. But here we're focused primarily on three: the Airbrake JS Notifier extension, Apollo QAX, and Data Layer Manager. These extensions work together to make sure that everything is set up successfully for your data to record. Airbrake is a platform that records errors that happen in the console. Apollo QAX will push errors to the console in situations where the Adobe Analytics beacon is not formed successfully. If there's something wrong with the product string, the syntax, the length of expected characters for a variable, etc., you'll be notified. And without having to actually be on the page to observe the item happening in action, it will automatically get recorded. And if Airbrake is configured, it will be sent over to Airbrake. Then Data Layer Manager detects the data layer events as they come through. And we're able to know exactly how the data layer should look, and we're able to have errors occur in the console if there is a violation of the expected structure of the data layer, if a critical item is missing. So to see live examples of this in action, we'll go over to our example site. And I've loaded this page, and I can see in the console a number of items happening. So I've enabled verbose logging, and I have my launch switch extension running. And this is a site that has been implemented with Apollo that's running Adobe Analytics through Adobe Launch. I can see where all of these console messages in verbose mode are coming from. And I can see exactly when the Experience Cloud ID service loads, when Analytics initializes, when the QAX extension initializes, everything coming from Data Layer Manager, everything coming from QAX and Analytics subsequently, exactly when all of my launch rules fire, and if any conditions are violated. I can scroll through and see that in this case, I don't have any console errors. I can see the detailed structure of my product string, and I can see all of the checks that Apollo QAX initiates to make sure that my evars, props, list vars, and hierarchy variables have the correct number of characters, for example, that there's no issues with byte limits being exceeded of the analytics requests, and a number of other checks. So how does this look when there is actually an error? If I paste in an analytics call that intentionally has a couple of issues, for example, I have a $sign in my selling price, I don't have the brand included in the product info, which is something that was set up in my data layer, and I try to send this through, then I'll see those errors reflected. So here I can see that on the product added to cart event, I'm missing a required property, the brand property. And I can also see that the string does not match the pattern for the selling price for the product. In this case, I know it's because there's a $sign present at the beginning of it, and that's not something that I'm expecting. So if I'm not on the page, how do I know that this error occurred so I can proactively check? That's where the Airbrake platform comes in. So the missing required property of brand, we see a specific error message being recorded. We can see where the error happened geographically, as well as the user agent of the browser that was involved. And we can see how frequently this happened. So in the case of this error, just because I've been doing some testing, it was first seen 7 minutes ago and last seen 34 seconds ago. So if something is recurring or getting more or less frequent over time, you're able to see that. Then on the selling price doesn't match the regex pattern specified, in this case, because it has a currency symbol in it, we're able to see similarly when this happened, where it came from, and the details. So this allows the developers, as they're building the data layer, to proactively catch issues. And as you configure items in the Apollo platform, if you add regex criteria, minimum maximum values, minimum maximum length, those items will push into here and be able to communicate with the Airbrake platform. If we go into the Learn More section on any of these extensions, we can go to the extension documentation, which is provided in detail on the Adobe Exchange for each of these extensions. Airbrake is a separate product from Apollo. and it can be purchased at airbrake.io. There's currently a 30-day free trial. And then the lowest tier, which is often sufficient for most clients, depending on their error volume, is fairly inexpensive per month. So Airbrake does tend to be pretty accessible as a platform. We've created the extension to help communicate data back to Airbrake, but the Airbrake platform itself is something that's created outside of Apollo and is managed outside of Apollo. In the Airbrake configuration, there are no configurations necessary, but we do have a link to the GitHub repo with the Airbrake JS package. And learning more about Airbrake takes you to their website so you can configure the plans.